I got a confession to make. What can go wrong, right? Like confessing to the internet, using the internet as a confession booth. That never backfires, right? But I like Supernatural, or at least I used to, years ago when it started. And I think the reason I did was that there weren't that many sci-fi TV shows, and everything that was sci-fi related, I would just watch it. And Supernatural was actually interesting in the first seasons. The demons were actually powerful and strong and scary. Like there was the first time they introduced that you had a demon just ripping off the door of an airplane in mid-flight. And you had like all of this plot regarding the end of the world and how the brothers were supposed to play into it. But then, as all bad shows do, it started dragging out and dragging out and dragging out, and they went with the subverting your expectations trope, where they would hype up a villain. They would say, "Oh my god, like this villain is so powerful, it's so unbeatable," and you would think like it's the season baddie, but that villain would die mid-season, just like that, like poof. They did it with Lucifer. They did it with like some chick from Purgatory that was supposed to be really hyped up. They did it with Archangel Michael and like a lot of baddies that they would just spawn, and it became very formulaic as well. Like there were so many filler episodes where the brothers would go to investigate some sort of monster, and at one point they would split up, and the monster would knock one of the brothers out cold. Like they would get the drop on it and knock him in the back of the head. And then they would tie him up and start explaining all of the lore and all of the plot on how evil they are and what they actually intend to do and blah blah blah. And he would take like 5 or 10 minutes to kill him, but before the other brother would show up and save the day. And I swear to God, like that happened in so many episodes, like literally the same formulaic thing over and over. I guess it's kind of expected, when you're going to make a story that's going to span over so many seasons. And of course, they have to go political, and they took a couple of jabs at Donald Trump. Like there's this episode where God makes people unable to lie. So what ends up happening is that on television they say the U.S. president admits to Russia conspiracy theory and blah 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 blah. Like so much nonsense. And then they took a lot of jabs at religion. I mean, the God of the Old Testament, not Muhammad, right? Because they fear Muhammad. They respect Muhammad over there at Hollywood, but the Christian God is weak. It is pathetic. They can attack it. And they had like the God of Christianity turning out to be gay. Like he actually did have sex with a couple of human males. Isn't that progressive? And right now, God is like the villain of the story. He's the bad guy for almost no reason whatsoever. Like it feels so forced. But like in a way, I kind of get it because they keep hyping up the villains more and more and more, and it's like they need to just outdo like next season. They need something more powerful and more powerful and more powerful. And it used to be God's sister, because in the beginning there was darkness and God said, "Let there be light." So it's like darkness was one of the evils in the previous season, and now it's God. But anyway, like the good thing about it is that they're finally putting the show out of its misery. It kind of shows the age of it as well. Like all of these special effects are really lame. I mean, like everything they fight is humanoid based, but it just has like some makeup to make it look a little bit evil. For example, they had dragons, and dragons look like human beings, just that they can breathe fire. The demons are now very weak. Like they got nerfed to high heaven. In the beginning, the demons were very powerful. As I mentioned, like they could rip off the door of an airplane in flight, and now they just get PTFO'd by Sam and Dean Winchester. The demons were also very hard to pull out from a human. Like they would need to do this whole exorcism thing, and now they just have like this special knife. Like they basically nerfed their own bad guys to the point where the bad guys aren't impressive anymore. And another thing is like they constantly killed their greatest characters. Like there were a lot of characters that I liked, like Crowley and was Bobby, and a lot of other characters. And Negan was in this. Yeah, Negan was their father. and all of them got killed off. Now I don't know if they got them killed off because the writers just, you know, wanted to push this message that everyone around the brothers is eventually going up dead. But they didn't replace them with anything interesting. They didn't replace them with anything cool. As such, it's very boring to watch the show. You know, it's just the brothers that it's keeping on the show. And honestly, there were seasons where it was like all of this brotherly drama and whatnot. So I was kind of, it's like Old Yeller now. It's like Old Yeller that needs to be put down because it's suffering. It's suffering and it's like, okay, enough with it. Just enough. But apparently, they announced it that this is the last season, but now someone wants to revive Supernatural. And it's Bruce Campbell. And I don't care. Just make something new. Like, why do you have to... Oh my god. Like, it's... So Supernatural may be drawing to an end soon, but that doesn't mean it can't rise up again. Unlike X-Files and Twin Peaks. Yeah, how many people are appreciative of the fact that the X-Files have risen again? I mean, the age of that show was showing. I watched the last season of X-Files. I couldn't watch the entire thing. And Twin Peaks, man, I was never into Twin Peaks. It looks like someone that's on crack made that. Whatever, you know, that's a conversation for another day. I'm sure there's a lot of you that are Twin Peaks fans, and I just don't have the brain capacity to understand it. But, like, I've never seen the first season, and watching, like, the Twin Peaks revival, I had no idea about what was going on there. So, former Smallville co-star Michael Rosenbaum, podcast Inside of You, says that I don't feel like this isn't the long goodbye right now. I feel like it is. Let's hang this in the closet for now, and we'll dust her off down the road a bit. Like, why can't they actually revive Stargate? You know, like, that would have been nice. If the network does decide to bring back the fan favorite show, then fans can be rest assured that another beloved member of the cast will also be able to make their return. The 67 shell Impala of the Winchester family itself, even receiving an episode from its point of view during the show's 15-second run. Ackles recently revealed he will get to keep the car once the show finishes filming its last 2 episodes, which restarted production. I'm gonna clean her up but not change anything. I'm gonna need to add an air conditioning unit because we live in Texas. I'm probably going to get some new speakers, a radio system that actually works, but everything else I'm going to leave the car. So, you know, it's kind of nice. Like, okay, they get the actor gets to keep the car, and apparently if they make another season, the actor is going to come back with it. But here's the thing. Jeffrey Dean Morgan from The Walking Dead wasn't the only choice to play his on-show father, John Winchester. The show creative team initially wanted Bruce Campbell, Ash versus the Evil Dead, for the part. As Morgan is only 12 years older than Ackles in the present day, which would not work as well as it did in the flashbacks and at the beginning of the series, blah, blah, blah. They actually went out to Bruce Campbell to play present-day dad. This was the only person that they wanted. Ultimately, they couldn't make it happen, whether it was because of his schedule or whatever, or, so the actor couldn't play it. My God, please don't make another season. Please, just put it out of its misery. Like, I don't think I can have it in me to watch another season of this. Like, the only reason I'm watching is because I watched since the beginning. And I'm, like, really curious to see how they wrap it up. But it is so obvious that the writers have completely ran out of ideas at this point. It's just no. Just leave it alone, you know? And it's really annoying because it started as a horror TV show. Like, if you watch season 1, they're going with a horror vibe. I mean, it doesn't scare me because I just don't get scared from horror movies anymore. But, like, that's what they were going with. And now it's just... it's almost like a soap opera. Like, there's probably so many women watching this just for the drama with the brothers. Like, they probably don't even care about the monsters or anything like that. But it's like, oh... The Sam and Dean, let's ship them together, and there's even like disgusting hentai on Tumblr between Sam and Dean, and yeah, I mean, you know, who am I to go into a women-only space and decide how they're the ones that are supposed to have the fun? But like, if a guy goes, I don't know, into a female TV show and ships Captain Marvel with Black Widow, then that's probably sexist and misogynistic, isn't it? Alright, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the comment section. Take care.